Hi, welcome to the Wired
and Rewired podcast all about the hit HBO series, The Wire.
I'm Chris, and this is my 1,000th time watching The Wire.
And this is Ellie. It's my first.
So if you're new to the force or a longtime veteran, we think you'll find something here to enjoy. As always, we start every episode by popping a recap for episode 12, Cleaning Up. The low-rise payphones are out of service, so McNulty and Daniels try to keep pace by tapping Barksdale's office. Bodie gets some new responsibilities from Stringer. Freeman gives Chardine a new look, and D'Angelo goes to NYC on an errand for his uncle. With the detailed future hanging in the balance, Daniels faces off against Burrell and his political allies. The episode was written by George Pelicanos, who I'll go into some detail on here in a little bit, and directed by Clement Virgo, his first episode directing. All right, you want to start us off with the epigraph? Sorry, not epitaph.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Almost
God.
an epitaph when you know who it's from.
Exactly.
Wallace says, "This is me, yo, right here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, we thought last episode was going to be rough. I mean,
I know.
How do you compare this episode to last episode?
This one was really hard.
Yeah.
Really sad. Really sad, and just a lot of things that happened that I didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
So some of my predictions are definitely wrong from last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Since you brought it up,
Yeah.
you did say Wallace is going to come back and something bad will happen to him.
I did say that.
So I think that was on the money.
That one was on the money.
You had major temptation from Bubs, which
No, we didn't
nothing
see
in
Bubs
this
at
episode.
all, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't in this episode
Nope.
at all, right? Okay. And building the case for finding the shooters. Well,
Yeah, not in the way I thought.
Yeah.
I just thought there would be a lot more with evidence.
Yeah, I mean, they just kind of put it on pause, I think it looks like. Okay. So let's get started, and then I'll kind of weave in some of the other... There's a ton of information about this particular episode from All the Pieces Matter and from the director's commentary, things like that. I will do my best to weave them in as appropriate as opposed to long monologues. So, yeah. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, well, let's get started.
All right. Well, we open up with Daniels coming through these hospital double doors. He's been checking in on Kima. Sees McNulty waiting outside, and he tells him, go in and see her. And McNulty won't do it. Daniel says, you got to pay your respects or get your head in the game. And McNulty says, do you think this was about Barksdale? It was about me. He kind of owns up to the fact that this whole thing was about me, and this is why he feels this loss of Kima, but Kima's injury so profoundly, because he feels like he made Kima care for something that was really all about his own ego. And Daniel says, you think I didn't know that?
Right.
I totally knew that. But ends up convincing McNulty that this does mean something, and because it meant something to her too, that he needs to follow through.
Freeze your ass off that wall then. Either pay your respects or get your head back into this case.
Oh, fuck this case.
Fuck it, huh? Now you're just gonna what? Call off your little crusade?
Is that what you think it was? Crusade? Avon Barksdale was just a way for me to show everyone how smart I was and how fucked up the department is, that's all. Just put Jimmy McNulty up on your shoulders, march him around the room, break out the keg. It was never about Avon Barksdale, Lieutenant. It's all about me.
You think I didn't know that? You think we all didn't know? Listen, this case is gonna move forward, with you or without you.
This case got a shot. I put a battery up her ass and got her thinking this case meant something. And you know what? Burrell and Rawls and them, they were right. This case means exactly shit.
Well, I know it meant damn near nothing to me when you came in beating the drum. But now we got that woman in there, that good police, breathing through a fucking tube because it meant something to her. And the shooters who dropped Kima, they're still in the wind. And whoever sent those motherfuckers into that alley, he needs to get got too. So you can stand there, dripping with liquor smell and self-pity if you got a mind to. But this case, it means something. Now.
Yeah, and the interesting part of it for me is that we put these facades up thinking that we're hiding our true motivation, our true intentions. A lot of times people see right through it and they don't care.
So obvious.
And, you know, I love Daniels the way that he, you know, really kind of says, look, you know, whatever that brought us here is kind of, a prelude. And now it's time to make a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah. So any particular reaction to like how McNulty kind of admitted all this, or didn't really change your perspective?
No, it didn't really change my perspective on
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
So we go to the low rises and we see Dee's kind of worried that they're going to be running out of drugs to sell. And Stringer comes up, he takes all their pages and hands Dee and Bodie cell phones only and tells them, you know, that from now on we do business face to face. And in this scene, there's so much focus on Stringer's hands.
Yes.
It is so weird. Every single little hand signal or motion that he does, the camera is on and then goes out and then goes back and then goes out. It's so weird. It was just weird to me.
Okay.
It was a weird directorial choice to me.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that because I've seen it so many times that I have, when I first saw it, I don't know that I remember it being one way or the other. It was kind of, you know, you're just kind of following along and you're seeing him, but it is interesting. Like, I wonder why
it just felt stylistically very different to me instantly. So that's fine. You know, I don't mind seeing his hands. He has nice hands. It just felt a little weird.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about this episode in particular is that there are a ton of close-ups in general.
Yeah.
And so it feels like maybe it's just of a piece that the one thing that came up out of the director's commentary that they mentioned like early on was that there's a lot of emotional payoff essentially for like tied up in Wallace.
True.
And so a lot of the close-ups on the faces really is about like expressing that and capturing the emotional response to what's happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if maybe the director was just like, no, I'm in my close-up mode and I'm just doing close-ups on everything.
I think that's what it was.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you didn't really need to see Stringer doing like the traveling motion or whatever it is.
Yes,
yeah, so,
totally.
Yeah, so okay.
Pointing with his fingers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, Stringer tells them they've got to memorize these numbers. He puts them on a piece of paper, you know, informs them that the police took the main stash. And I think it's important for us to note here because of what happens later that Poot is left out of the communication here. He's not given a phone. He's told to go off, you know, you don't need to be part of this. And so I think that you know, that him being left out in this way is important later.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's move on to, oh my goodness, Freeman is putting drops in Chardine's eyes. She's got contacts. Apparently she can't put drops in by herself.
Yep.
But no, Freeman's got to do that. And you can see throughout this exchange, he is just totally sweet on her and trying to sweeten her up. So it's very cute, though. And it took me a little bit by surprise that we were going to a romantic place. But I'm happy for Chardine if that happens.
Sure.
Freeman's a good guy. McNulty comes in and Freeman tells him there is nothing on the wire anymore. Yeah, that's kind of what they expected. Freeman said that he sent Prez to get state campaign finance records. Also becomes important later. You know, McNulty's lamenting the waste of all their efforts. And then Freeman introduces McNulty to Chardine and says, hey, we're going to fit her with a wire. And so we're, you know, able to get some more intel now, thanks to Chardine. And then, you know, Chardine wants some coffee. And I love this little scene at the end where I can't remember who's there. Sidner and Herc?
Yeah.
And they're, you know, both kind of like, you know, want to get her the coffee, but Freeman's like, no, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Knows exactly how she takes it. Very cute.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Yeah. Just a quick note. Freeman. I just wrote down Freeman big dicking Sidner. And I mean, Sidner's married, so, you know, he should be, you know, I mean, I didn't get the sense that he was being like, you know, a dog about it, but he was definitely like, oh, pretty girl, I'm going to help get her some coffee. So, and then Freeman just like, I mean, it's a little bit cringy because you're like, dude, it's just coffee.
Could you be more obvious?
I also got the sense like,
oh my goodness.
so she got contacts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's
okay.
what I thought it was.
I'm sure that's
Yeah.
right, but I for some reason thought it was she got like LASIK or something, and so I kind of laughed
Did
because
we have LASIK then? Would the police pay for LASIK?
I don't know. They would pay for contacts. Yeah, contacts are a lot cheaper, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But it was just funny because I was like, it's like she just got out of the LASIK operation and he was like putting the drops in. But no, contacts makes more sense because he's probably like, here I'm gonna go get these, procure these, or whatever it is. And so, and so just a comment from David Simon, and this is one of the areas where it's not a surprise to anybody that's been listening to us and to you, but the fact that they have 13 hours of content, they don't have to solve every crime at the end of every hour.
Yeah.
And they don't have to tie everything up in a bow. They don't have to tie anything up in a bow until the end of the season, really. And so the fact that this investigation hits a wall and then they change course is he just mentioned it's like, this is about allowing us to wring every bit of juice out of a prolonged investigation, which is really a lot more how it is.
Yeah.
And there's a connection later on about how this is so much different from kind of your regular episodic police procedural kind of thing. So, so it just really is. I do appreciate that because you think like, as you're watching, and I should ask, when you saw that, it must have been a mystery as to like, how are they going to proceed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
totally.
did you have any indication? And then they just lead you over to Chardine, but even that's not necessarily clear, right?
It's not. No, I mean, my assumption was that they were going to try to get Chardine into Avon's office. That's really what I was thinking with that, and get some more intel that way. But yeah, I was not entirely sure where that would go. I mean,
that's
we're at a dead end.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's it's good that to get that perspective, because I think for a lot of people after they've seen it a few times, you're like, well, I know what's going to happen next, so I don't. That mystery is already revealed. So anyway, okay, let's keep going.
All right. Well, Levy is meeting with Barksdale and Stringer at Orlando's, or the bar formerly known as Orlando's, and he is trying to talk through who might be a liability for them. So they kind of think about, who could say anything, and they come up very quickly with Lakeisha Lyles. Is that her name?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And so if we recall, Lakeisha was the security guard who recanted, I guess, her testimony on Gant, who 1 minute said that she had witnessed the murder by Dee, but then the next day she didn't see anything.
Yep.
She was mistaken, if we recall. And Levy tells them, anyone who can hurt you can be put into play.
Yeah.
So, they think about Bird and Weebay. Okay, they're in jail. Savino is going to go down on the sham CDS. Little Man, we know, is not a problem anymore because Little Man's not around anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, Little Man's been taken care of. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just wrote down fucking Levy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one thing to protect a defendant that is guilty.
Yeah.
It's another to essentially actively encourage them to
do whatever you have
be
to do
mindful
to
of who
yourself.
can, and he knows what they're going to do. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
and he knows right when to exit. Too.
Yeah, exactly.
The less I know.
Right.
Here's my advice, and then I'm out of here.
Yeah. David Simon said that that Levy is an amalgamation of a few lawyers that he knew about. So, and he also mentioned that the way that they wrote Levy and how Brianna later on in the episode kind of derides him and is as a quote Jew lawyer. They just kind of, or I think this was actually Pelikanos was saying this, that every ethnic group in essentially the drug scene reviles every other ethnic group. So it's just it's an interesting thing. Like, they will use each other for whatever their purposes are, but and it's almost like a reminder back to when Levy picked up D'Angelo from the precinct, and he's like, "How many times do I have to tell you people?" And it's like, dude, let's take it easy. Like, treat him like a person. Then you're like, oh well, actually, there's tension between groups and so on and so forth. So, yeah, but then Levy just walks out. Anyway.
Yep.
Yep.
It's pretty terrible.
Yep.
We go to Burrell and Daniel's meeting, and Burrell says it's over. Says the wiretap's done. But Daniel says, hey, we got more time. I'm going to keep this thing going. And Burrell says, okay, well, you can do that, but you can't keep all the guys you need because you don't need him anymore. And so, he says, who do you want to keep or whatever? And Daniel says, you decide, and tells him that he can keep Freeman and Presbalewski, but needs to send back Sidner and Sanny. And frankly, Freeman and Prez are probably the ones that you want to keep.
Right. Yep.
Even if they seemed like they would not be strong contenders at the beginning. So good for Daniels on that one. We are happy at least that Freeman and Prez get to stay. I'll say goodbye to Sanny. Sidner, I'm happy. We'll find out later that he gets to stay a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hold on, Lieutenant. I gave you those people. I decide who comes back. But feel free to speak your mind if it were up to you.
He asked you a question, Lieutenant. I have no opinion. Take your pick.
What's the name of that old detective from Pawn Shop? Yeah, and that young one, Valchek's brain-dead son-in-law?
Freeman. Prisbalewski.
Keep him. Send back Sidnor and Santangelo. And Lieutenant, if you want to do anything beyond listen to those dead phones, you need to brief me first.
But Burrell does warn him that anything else he wants to try to do, he needs to brief Burrell on it. Mm-hmm. And I think is Burrell's, whatever, his number 2, his lackey guy.
Yeah,
and the one that yelled. Yeah, mm-hmm. Is he in the room when the skull goes? Yeah, that's right, because they're all talking about how, you've done good. You're looking good for this position that's going to open up, and basically like keep playing your cards right.
Yeah.
And you'll get where you want to get.
Yeah. And I think that here, now I think that you kind of laid out all the different threads that we have. Yeah. So this is, because we're going to go through this chronologically, but we are going to weave these things together. But yeah, and it really starts to feel like the turn that Daniels has in this episode is, you think, he made it, right? Exactly. I mean, if you go back to his conversation with his wife in episode 3, I think, where he's like, you cannot lose if you do not play. And you think, okay, like this is a losing proposition. And he made it through. Yeah. Like Burrell, is basically lining him up. And so this is kind of the setup for what's going to happen the rest of the episode. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. God, I kind of forgot about that line. And that just, drives home what a transformation, what an arc his character has.
Absolutely.
That really, is peaking.
Yeah.
Here. Okay.
Oh, and sorry, just
go for it.
Quick note about Lance Reddick. Not that, how many times do we should ring a little bell every time we say we love Lance Reddick.
Yeah.
But his response to the line, what's the name of that, the Valchek's brain dead son-in-law and the guy, the pawn shop unit, the old guy, and Daniel Reddick he does this little crinkle with his eyes, and you could tell he's pleased. Damn, and
exactly.
He's like, he just names them, but he knows he's got his guys, the guys that he needs for what he's going to do. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's just a beautiful job, and this is where one of the benefits of the close-ups that the director had chosen to do, because without that, if it had been a wide shot or whatever, you wouldn't have caught that. And it's just a beautiful little touch.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, well, we are now in the office of Stephen Demper, Perlman's boss, and he asked Perlman for an update on the wiretap. And, he goes on to summarize what's going on and then says, and also you guys are getting campaign finance reports, including mine. And he starts talking about how they have returned 5 contributions. Don't know who gave them or why they gave. We don't check that out. He makes a comment about Caesar's wife, which I didn't know that proverb. Did you know where that proverb is from?
Think this was the first time I heard it. I know it now, but...
Yeah. Caesar's wife must be above suspicion is what it comes from. And so basically meaning that, those in positions of authority should avoid even looking guilty of anything.
Is it from Julius Caesar from the Shakespeare play, or I don't know where it even comes from?
It's from actual Caesar, I guess. So Caesar's wife had a party that was only ladies, and a dude named Publius tried to sneak in dressed as a woman, tried to seduce her, but got caught and tried for it. And then later Caesar divorced his wife Pompeia. And when he was questioned about her later, he said, my wife ought not even be under suspicion. I'm in a position where, I'm above all of that.
I was just
Impropriety.
impressed that you got the reference,
Oh.
but no, Ellie went.
to look it
Ellie
up.
went deep. Went deep. Good
I
job.
need to know these things.
See, no, I appreciate
Bothers
that. I
me
didn't know
if I
that it was
don't.
I didn't know it was like a real story. I should
Yeah,
have, but
you
anyway,
know.
well done.
Oh, thank
Well done
you.
as usual.
All for you listeners. Okay, so moving along. Unless you wanted to say anything else about this exchange with Mr. Demper.
I just a slight thing is that Rhonda comes in. She's,
Yeah.
kind of jovial,
Yeah.
good mood. And you just see her face,
her
her
face,
expression
yes.
when she's like, oh my
"Guys,
God,
I don't know
what
anything
is
about
happening?
this."
And she is like terrified.
Yeah.
So really a great job by Deidre Lovejoy
Yeah.
just in acting that. So, and
Agreed.
again, probably last time I'll say, at least for until the next scene.
Yeah.
But just like that close up on her face, they really nail it. I mean, you
Yeah.
just really get that feeling that she
Yeah.
is like panicking.
She is.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Please don't hold
Yes,
this against
please,
me, kind
I
of thing.
really
So,
don't know.
Yeah.
She does it very well.
Yeah.
Dee's now in Barksdale's office, and Stringer tells him, we need to know where Wallace is because they're trying to get all their loose ends tied up. And Dee just says, why do you want Wallace? Well, you don't need to worry about him. He's out of the game. And Barksdale says, we just want to talk. And Dee's not going to give that information up. He kind of leaves it there that, Wallace is out. Leave Wallace alone. Leave Wallace alone.
Y'all want to get with me?
Yeah, we need to holler at your boy. You know, the one that dimed on Omar's bitch. Can't recall his name.
Which one?
You know, the one that was at the Greeks that night. We paid him for the lookout.
What y'all need him for?
What's it to you?
You ain't got to worry about him.
Say what?
He's gone. He's out the game.
Out the game.
Yo, the man asked you a simple question.
Look, I don't mean y'all no disrespect. You know I don't. But I'm sitting here telling you that the boy is out the game. And even if he wasn't out the game, he wouldn't be no problem.
Well, you know we just want to talk to him, D.
Avon. Let the boy be.
He walks out, and you see then, as they pan to the right, you see that room outside the office is where the ladies are getting ready, and Chardine watches him leave. And she looks in the mirror, and you can actually just barely see this little mic in her hair. She's kind of fussing with it. Freeman's a little annoyed with her for fussing with it. Leave it alone, woman. And so he is actually listening in a van with Herc and Sidner, who are apparently arguing about hot dogs, who's got the best ones. And alas, despite the fact that Chardine kind of hung out there outside the office for a while and other people were coming by, she doesn't get any good information from where she is. And really, they need to be inside the office is what they decide.
Yep. Yeah. So just to go into the Stringer, Avon, and D'Angelo scene, I recommend anybody go back and rewatch that scene because the camera work in that there's a lot of not just close-ups, but panning and zoom ins and things like that. So again, you have these, essentially it's between Avon and D'Angelo, and you have a really great, the tension between the three of them, the three characters, it's just really excellent acting. And David Simon said they really just used every gesture to move to enhance the tension and kind of reveal and this is where the emotional connection to Wallace's situation is really revealed instructively.
Right.
So, and so just to connect to our normal thing is now this is connecting back to the Avon, Stringer, Levy. So this is just the Barksdale organization. Now here's their process for protecting themselves.
Yep.
You have
Eliminate every threat.
Yeah, you have it, and then to go back for one scene, Perlman and Demper that's the Freeman had sent Prez to Annapolis. So this is the new investigation strategy.
Yeah.
So we'll just keep connecting those. But yeah, the three characters in that scene are just fantastic, and you just really. Yeah, I mean that you could just cut the tension with a knife.
Yeah.
One note about the room right outside where Chardine is sitting. There's a sign. This is the 6-inch rule.
It's crossed out. It says 1 inch instead, and it says strictly STRICKLY instead of strictly.
I did not catch that.
Spelled incorrectly.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
I did notice that sign.
Yeah.
I kind of got a kick out of that.
Yeah, and then previous is a previous hot dog dogs
Yeah.
is an institution in Baltimore. George Pelicano said, "I love Prius chili dogs, and if there's if there's ever inane chatter about food in Baltimore, George Pelicano's probably wrote it." Is what David said. Okay.
And there's a lot of stuff that they describe in here that actually makes me really hungry.
Yeah.
All right. Everything from well, we'll keep going. I'll tell you
Sure.
when I got hungry
All right.
in
Sounds
other
good.
places.
All right.
Well, we pop out and we find out Lakeisha Lyles got shot dead. She was not armed. She is found by police officers and she's shot dead. So another potential, leak or, threat to them has been eliminated.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask you here.
Okay.
I'm putting you on the spot, so take your time.
Okay.
But I have struggled with, was she essentially dead as soon as she saw D'Angelo shoot Pooh Blanchard? Like, did she have a way out? Like, it's almost like, so anyway, let me, what do you think about that? Like, do you think that she made...
Wait, she witnessed Pooh Blanchard's death?
Yeah, D'Angelo, she was in the
trial. I thought she... Oh.
We never
no,
met.
Okay, because it's Gant died, but
right.
Yeah, okay. She didn't witness that. That was because Gant was going to testify against. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So would she say that one more time? Chris?
So she saw D'Angelo shoot Pooh Blanchard, and that was the trial to begin, right? So Gant testified.
Yes.
She also testified, but as a contradictory witness, and then creates reasonable doubt. So the question is that she took the money. I imagine she got paid off. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so she thought she had made it out, but at the end of the day,
she got killed
anyway. So I'm trying to figure out, like, was she doomed from the start? I think it's just the theoretical, but it's,
I don't know. I don't think so, because I think if things had not started going bad for Barksdale, that he would, use her as an example of what, if you help protect the organization, I'll take care of you.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
It strikes me that he would have used her in that way.
Yeah.
That's what I would think.
I guess that's probably right. Okay. All right. Yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, she would have had to anticipate that if they were ever pressed.
Yeah.
She probably was like, if they ever get arrested, then I'm not going to be involved anyway. Like, why would I? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh God. Wallace is back at the low rises.
Yep.
I even have a frowny face emoji next to that note. Yeah, he asked to be put back to his former position. Bodhi says, no, you left. You got to be a man. You got to stay here. That's what a man does. And Dee says, no, he can. But he also brings up, hey, you talked about going back to high school. What about that? And it kind of drops there, and they're going to go have a talk. Actually, maybe I'll just skip forward to that.
Okay.
Because Dee talks to Wallace. He gives him advice, and he tells him he needs to be really careful. Tells him that, if anybody asks him anything, that he tells them, I'm in the game for life. No snitching. Well, shoot. Already messed that one up. Anyways, Wallace makes a point of saying that he misses home so much. Like, this comes up quite a lot, and he says, this is me right here. It's incredible to me that he just cannot, that this condition that he lives in, this is still the best thing that has happened to him. This is his home.
I'm saying, this here game, it ain't gonna work for you no more, man. You leaving, you stirred up some shit. I'm saying, it ain't your fault or nothing.
Yo, D, look, I appreciate what you're trying to say and all, but I grew up in the courts, all right? I've been with them niggas since shit forever. I guess it's a home, right?
You ain't hearing me, Wallace. You ain't hearing me. Anybody asks you whether you're in this game, you tell them you're in it for life, all right? You play it hard, you play it tight, and you make sure niggas know you're gonna stand by your people. No loose talk, no second thoughts, and no snitching. Play it like that.
And then we have Dee's mom, Brianna, come by, and she drops off fish cakes for him. Late introduction for a character that seems really important later on in the series. Was kind of interesting to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so a couple of things to cover. Yeah, so you're right. I mean, Wallace is essentially trapped, even when he's however far away.
I know.
He could not avoid being drawn back.
Yes.
Which is kind of like everything else that we talked about, like how far, no matter how far away you get from addiction or whatever else, it's just like a very short trip back to kind of your old patterns.
I mean, what did he think was going to, you're reporting on the biggest drug dealer. You know what he's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
I just blows my mind. I'm not saying that it's not, realistic that would be his reaction.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a kid, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it is because he's still a kid. It's tragic.
Just frustrated by it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that, he probably thought that, he's back, but, bygones be bygones, and he's like a new person and all that.
Right.
And so, I don't know, maybe he just thought the best case scenario and couldn't see the risk that he was under. But to your point about D'Angelo's mom, Michael Hyatt is the actor's name.
Yeah.
And one thing that they do mention about that David Simon talked about was that they didn't necessarily know what exactly her role was going to be, but they wanted to make sure that they had an actor that they could rely on to bring some interesting components to the character, which is kind of an interesting development, because now you have this actor who's quite accomplished, comes in even for like a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
But they wanted to make sure that they had the right person in place so that if they needed to develop her further, they would be able to. So
Yeah. Sterling's, baby. We out the feast. What the hell is Sterling's? Sterling's, up on 29th Street. Don't you know nothing?
Shit, if it ain't up in the West Side, I don't know shit, Cause this is me, yo. Right here. Who's that? Your new girl or something?
Nah, nigga, that's my mom.
But the other part of it...
Wait a second. Is she in The Good Place?
I don't know.
She is in something else. I know it. Oh my God, I have to look it up.
Okay. Well, you can...
No, it's not that.
Well, now I will look it up.
Oh my God, she is in some other... It's a comedy. Okay, we'll figure it out.
Okay. She was in The West Wing for a couple of episodes. Probably not what you're thinking about. Not a comedy. So
I'm sorry,
apparently
lose your track.
No, it's okay. Apparently there's another Michael Hyatt. So now I'm all screwed up. So
I'll figure it out, guys.
We'll come back to it later. I'll wait till Ellie's talking on one of her soliloquies, and then I'll start. But but just one other note about this is that Sterling's up on 29th Street is all the way like north and east.
Okay.
And on the other side of Druid Hill.
Oh, that's why he's like, I've never seen, I don't know that. Okay.
Yeah. The Interstate 83 goes through, and I think that's kind of like the dividing line. And so, there's that, which is like, if it's not on the west side, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
But also it is now called, wait, hang on, where is it? Oh, there it is. It's now called Black Sauce Kitchen. So no longer Sterling's, but still looks like it's a solid seafood place.
Okay.
One other comment. I don't know if you picked up on the word Bama's. When Wallace was talking, and apparently that's just a DC phrase. And if you don't know what it is, there's no context for it. But essentially it means like chumps or assholes.
Oh, okay.
And it's really like a Baltimore kind of DC thing.
Okay.
Which is just very interesting. So Wallace talks about they had some Bamas down there, and like the dances or whatever, the get-togethers. It was like in like a Sears or whatever, and that's why Bodie says, "Oh, is that where you got them diehards there?" And and he's like, "No, these Tims." So anyway. Yeah, just a couple little notes there. There also is a comment that there was a scene that was cut. Poot had brought counterfeit Sean Johns, and he didn't notice, and that was part of the scene. Like they were talking about Wallace's shoes.
Yeah, they said they're Timberlands. They have the tree or something like that.
And then Poot was supposed to talk about his Sean Johns and not realize that they were counterfeit. And the joke was that it had a misspelling in it or something like that. It was like, Sean with an AW or something like that anyway. And so David just kind of commented about how he had to go back and talk to George about how the scene had got cut. He had to like face up to him, and he was, it was a very hard discussion. But apparently George Pelicanos had a similar thing happen where he bought a Hamilton watch, I guess, and it was like it was incorrectly spelled as well.
My
so
God.
that's where he got it from. So good stuff.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. So we went all over the place on this scene. So
did.
Yeah, good. But it obviously is like almost like the last like kind of scene with any kind of levity with Wallace really at this point. So yeah. Okay,
right.
so we can get back on track now.
Okay, and Michael Hyatt is not who I was thinking was
Oh,
the
no?
actress of the show, so you don't have to look that up. Okay, so the detail knows that Lakeisha Lyles has been shot dead, and they're discussing this now in the dungeon, and they realize that anyone who's a liability is getting taken out. And they say, what about the boy? They're talking about Wallace. So Daniels asks for someone to check on him out in the country and also tells Freeman that Jardine needs protection, and he offers his place like a dirty dog. And Daniel says, remember yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there we go.
Yeah. Yep.
Goodness. He's a horny gentleman. Okay, let's move along here. Oh my goodness. Burrell introduces Daniels to Senator Davis.
Yeah.
I did not expect that voice to come out of that man.
Okay.
Okay, but it's it doesn't matter. It just was interesting. Yeah, it did add to kind of like something very smarmy about his character.
Okay.
So Davis just wants to, quote, reassure Daniels that he's not involved in drugs with all these, searches you're doing into campaign finance reports. Well, what about that $20,000? And Senator Davis has a very shady answer about it. He says that Damien had that money from a cash bar fundraiser they had that night. And, we've gone through all the right channels. And Daniels just is like, that's fine.
Yeah.
No, great. If you've done that, that's wonderful. But he just sort of repeats the facts about why getting the money from him, pulling him over was warranted given what they had seen up to that point. And Davis just unleashes in a really nasty way, very quick change of personality. Mm-hmm. And he says kind of similar to what Perlman's boss was saying. It's like, we don't know where the money is from and we don't care.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no probable cause for a search of Mr. Price, I think we are in agreement on that.
No, there was PC for the search.
You're saying you have evidence that a senatorial aide is involved in drugs?
I'm saying we had reason to stop Mr. Price and effect a body search, after which we discovered $20,000 in cash and banded manicured bills. That's all I'm saying.
Irv, will you explain to this motherfucker just what the fuck it is he's doing here?
Lieutenant Dan.
Excuse me, sir. But it's pretty basic. If the senator's not involved in anything illegal, then he doesn't need to worry. I can't be any clearer about it than that.
Fool, what do you think? Do we know anything about who gives money? Do we give a damn about who they are or what they want? We have no way of running down them or their stories. We don't care. We just cash the damn checks, count the votes, and move on.
Yeah. And, he's pissed. Daniels leaves, and Davis is kind of saying to Burrell, like, you better fix this. You need to make him understand what is at stake here. So,
yeah.
More of the conversion of Daniels to the light.
Yeah. And the conversion for Davis is really important, as you called out, right? He goes from smooth talking to, the term they used was like totally straight, right?
Yeah.
He goes from fool what you think.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And he's no longer pretending. He's
Right.
just like, it does not matter at all.
Yep.
And we're just gonna, we're gonna get money from wherever it takes. So it's infuriating because Daniels isn't really, he's not trying to be difficult.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's not bending over the way that
Exactly.
Davis wants him to
Yeah.
is, just enrages
Yes.
Clay Davis. And
He
so,
hates it.
and Burrell, weirdly, he's in a bit of a hard place because he understands police work and he understands,
Right.
and he's trying to get out of the conversation with, there was a mistake to pull the driver over. And,
Yeah.
and Daniel's
Daniel's
like,
no, it wasn't.
no, I'm sorry. Like, what you're telling me that
Yeah.
you hear a drug,
Yeah, exactly.
a
There's
drug
no
dealer,
misunderstanding here.
yeah, is going to be dropping something off into a car, and you see that car pull up at exactly what, and we're supposed to just let it go? What are you, crazy? Like, and so, this is a scene where I have played it over in my head so many times. I cannot, I think there was a better way for Daniels to handle it, but I'm not sure what I would have done differently exactly that would have netted a different result. Because ultimately he was going to make Davis an enemy regardless, essentially, unless he basically said,
That's what I think.
yeah.
Yep. I really don't know that there's either you take care of it now or you take care of it later. It's going to happen with him eventually.
Yeah. Okay.
With the way that things are going.
I looked at it a little bit like, and so tell me what you think about this. I looked at it as like, if Daniels had just said, look, Senator, let's be real here. You know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. I can't prove anything, but this is the reality. So if you're going to get money from a drug dealer, don't do it in front of a building where drugs are being sold.
Yeah.
Don't do it getting a garbage bag. Bag.
Black garbage
Like,
bag
just
money.
be a little smarter about
Yeah.
it, huh? Can you do that for us so that we don't get you guys caught up again?
Yeah.
But even that would have been like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do what I want. You don't
Yeah,
tell
or
me.
he would have just gotten more bullshit for an answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess there wasn't a better way, but God, it's just so
I know.
frustrating because it's like, what? Getting a garbage bag full of money, like what the hell?
I know.
Anyway,
That doesn't look shady.
no, right?
Oh my God. All right. Well, some levity because we come into the dungeon and Herc is dancing on tables and chanting, and we find out he has passed his test to become a detective. And I think he keeps saying 18 because he was 18th in the lineup with 18th highest score. Much better than Carver. I can't remember what Carver was, like 27 or something.
Yeah, 37. Yeah.
Yeah. So now he is Sergeant Herc. And so a call comes in and we find out that Wallace left his grandma's house 2 days ago. Well, they know. We knew he left, unfortunately. Okay. Oh my gosh. Here we go. We're getting there. We're getting to an ugly place, people. Stringer picks up Bodie. And he wants to know, hey, what's Wallace's deal? Tell me about Wallace. Because he couldn't get that information from Dee, of course. And then he asks Bodie, if he is serious about the game, and he is, and if he's ready to put the work in, and he is, and if he's got heat. And Bodie gestures to the fact that he has a gun concealed. And that's it. That's all that we get from that exchange. But somehow from this, Bodie knows that he's got to get rid of Wallace. I mean, how does he know from just that? I guess there is no obvious, I need you to take care of him. You know what I'm saying? It's just, how serious are you? And do you have a gun?
Yep. Yeah, it's it's pure mob boss kind of approach, right? It's what's up with that boy?
Right.
What about you?
Yep.
You ready to put in work?
Yeah, don't
so
say
basically,
more than you need to, I suppose.
So when you put ready to put in work is the euphemism.
Okay.
And then you got heat. There's no
I see.
misunderstanding about
I
what's
see.
what's being told. And of course, the problem for Bodie is that he is trapped as well. Right. What's he going to say? Yeah. He's going to say no? No, he's in a car with Stringer. Basically this is a promotion.
Yep.
You can't say no. He has no other prospects. So, and then it's a little bit of a callback to what was it? I think it was episode 3 when Stringer presses, says to D'Angelo, don't pay him. What are they going to do? Go get a job? Yeah. No, this is all they have.
Exactly.
And same with Bodie's you're being asked to kill somebody, and you can, as he says later, you can step up or step off. Right. But stepping off is way worse a fate because it's unknown and all that other stuff. So, and who knows if you're going to make it out alive. So, yeah, it's again, it also infuriating because of how Stringer doesn't say exactly what he wants. He's able to get away with, I didn't know what he was going to do.
Exactly.
Even though, of course, there's no misunderstanding.
Right.
Yeah. Yep, and that's it.
Okay, well, McDaniels. McNulty and Daniels are checking Wallace's old place at night, and they note that there's no extension cords anymore. But I guess they must have moved apartments. Okay. And we see that Wallace and Poot have just gotten some Chinese food that they're sharing with the kids that live with them. And it's really sweet. Wallace has clearly missed those kids too and is joking around with them. And Poot's looking on. And this is another time when you see these great close-ups. You look at Poot's face and he's smiling at his friend. And you can tell that, for him in this moment, it's like things are back to the way that they were with his boy. And yeah, man, it's just watching that on the second time through, because I always watch these twice before we do these podcasts. just when you know what's going to happen and then you see his face in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. Got me.
Yep.
Got me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough scene when you know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Next, so.
Yeah. Just for him to have that tenderness in his eyes, that one moment to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Yeah. And same thing. It's like, the callback to the Wallace. It was the episode after when Brandon's body was discovered, right?
Yeah.
And kind of all the things that you saw in that moment. And that's how the police were trailing him.
Right.
A note about, I looked up the Big Timers song that was on 106 in Park. I think it was Lil Wayne featuring Big Timers, and the song was called Way of Life.
Way of Life.
So,
wow.
Which I thought was a nice.
Yep. I mean, just that title sounds like exactly what this.
Yep. And
this was.
Apparently Buff, because I got the stuff, is the little kid, and
because I got the stuff,
and that's
cute.
the name of George Pelican's. That's the nickname of George Pelican's son. So
oh,
I
really?
appreciate that, so.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, and it's one of those. It's interesting too that even that one little line, where Wallace is like, "What do you go by, little man?"
Yeah.
And like they're just like kids that are. This is just like a foster care, like in and out, people coming in and out, and like how'd this kid get hooked up with them and whatever else, and yeah. So it's just, but Wallace is just like open hearted and, whoever it is. And he's like, get on some of these egg rolls. Yeah. So, yep. I mean, there's just no shortage of reasons to be sad about what's going to happen.
I know. So let's just keep on.
Yeah.
Back at the detail, they get a recap on the Wallace situation that he's out there somewhere. Sandy's out now, but Sidner can stay longer. And, McNulty says, you cool with Rawls and everything like that. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm taken care of. But it's interesting because Freeman waits until the moment that Sandy is out of the room. And then he takes something out from a folder to go over with them. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. That just seemed very pointed to me that he watches him go out the room and then slides it out of the folder as soon as Sandy's out of the room. So I don't know. I don't know if they're thinking that he's potential mole or what was going on with that.
Interesting.
Or maybe he doesn't need to know anything else because he's not part of this detail anymore.
That's right.
But anyways.
That's right. And that was your prediction that you thought Santana was the mole. Mm-hmm.
I thought he was. Mm-hmm. So they take out blueprints. That's what Freeman takes out of the envelope. And it's for the upstairs area at Orlando's. Mm-hmm. And they say, okay, well, Chardine's going to help us figure out where that office is using the length of her stride. So I guess Freeman's got some, memories from his army days. He knows about marching and how to measure your stride and know exactly what your pace needs to be. Mm-hmm. So that's what they're going to be doing.
David Simon credited that to Ed Burns, who was in the military. So co-creator of The Wire. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And and he also said he also wanted to credit Don Bardozzi about the way that he handled the "Why me" line, right? Because
God, yeah, that's right.
And and it's right because he's like gotten all full of himself because he's going to be a sergeant, and I loved that whole scene, just that little exchange. He says, "Why me?" Freeman just like folds his hands and looks at him. Daniels like just looks over at him. He like looks around and
goes and does it.
And it's just really funny and then he holds it, like Lombardozzi like holds it for just a moment, and then he like walks off and just makes it really well timed. So
I did love that.
It's a really great moment. And then of course like and now you see like another mechanism that they're trying to. So you got to love the creativity of Freeman and how he's like trying to get around all the challenges that this last bit of roadblocks are being thrown up. So
yes.
Yep.
Let me skip a little bit here just because we stay in the dungeon here. Perlman's checking in with Daniels about the finance reports. And she's mad that she hasn't been told about them. But, Freeman comes by and he's like, well, don't you think it's better that you didn't know? Which he's right. And anyways, she's got the money that she's got the list of the names or the donors, I guess, for who they've returned contributions. And Freeman takes a look at it and is trying to see if it can be traced back to any Barksdale-owned businesses, right, or sources. That's what I'm gathering. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, okay. No, sorry. There's a later moment. I'll come back to it.
Yeah, and anyways, as Perlman leaves, that's when she's seeing Chardine walking with the string between her ankles and Herc's holding the yardstick, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, again, she looks around.
I know. She's like,
She
what
just
is
kinda,
going
like, shakes her
on
head
down
as she
here?
walks out. Yeah.
They
Yep.
do things weird down there.
Yeah. But yeah, and I'll come back. Just remind me to
Okay.
come back to that.
Okay, we can.
That little bit of
Yeah.
exchange, not the yard, not the quick time part, but the locations
Okay.
part comes in important
Yeah,
later.
it does. Yeah, so now we see Bodhi telling Poot that he has to kill Wallace. And, Poot's not convinced that Wallace is a snitch at this point. Says, he was just going out there. He was going out to his grandma's probably just to clean up. And, Bodhi says, it doesn't matter. We've been told to do this. And that's the game. We have to step up. And this scene is, it ends on children playing in the grass. And it's just so especially meaningful as, we move on with this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, Wallace is as close to those little kids as he is to being an adult.
Exactly. Yeah. And then next, the boys, Bodhi, Poot, and Wallace are sitting down with some chili dogs. And, Wallace starts talking about his mom, which we've been hearing a little bit more about. And, Bodhi gets kind of mad about that. He's like, why you talking about your mom? Or you're because I think he points out, are you a boy or are you a man? And Wallace says, why do you have to be so hard all the time? And Bodhi's response is, soft link, break the chain.
Yep.
This entire time, though, he's wanting Wallace to say that he's a man. Because if Wallace says he's a man and not a boy, he won't have to feel bad about what he's got to do.
Right.
Right? And so in the end, Wallace very, determinedly claims that he is a man, and they take off and they leave their uneaten chili dogs behind. Which was so annoying to me.
You noticed that, yeah.
So it's just like, what? Just leave those chili dogs to sit on the table?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering but Bodhi is eating, which is
Bodhi
interesting.
is eating.
Yeah. So I got the sense of I'm reading a ton into this, but is Poot not eating because he is kind of like sick to his stomach about what is happening?
I think so. Yes.
I don't know why Wallace wouldn't be eating.
I don't know why. Wallace
But yeah, but Bodhi's just
so
kind of
skinny.
like, yeah. And I was thinking that Bodhi was getting mad at Wallace to kind of like.
Yeah.
He wanted to be angry at him.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Just to make it.
It's
make
what
it
we call
easier for him.
sandcastling.
Oh.
Yeah. You basically erode your relationship so you don't have to feel bad when they're over.
Interesting.
Yeah. You purposefully erode your
Okay.
relationship.
Who's the we in this?
I mean, in the education field,
okay.
I know about. I mean, I don't know how widely used this term is, but like
That's
with
a good
summer
one.
camps, it happens stuff like that.
Is
where
that right?
kids, when kids have to separate, they'll like kind of purposefully erode the friendship, so it's easier. It's easier to say goodbye to somebody that you hate or have a bad relationship with than somebody that you're really going to miss. So,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Sandcastling.
Well, there you go.
Oh my goodness. All right. So, we know Chardine has been in the office and she has been using that stride because she walks into the van and she gives Freeman all the details of the office layout. There is a vacant building nearby. Isn't that fun? And so at 2:30 a.m., they are drilling a hole for a camera into the office, which is just very convenient, but great. And anyway, so I love this. Herc is like starting to drill and Freeman tells him to be quiet and makes fun of his SK sausage hands. I had to look up what SK sausage was.
Okay.
It is a Baltimore sausage brand that started in 1858.
Oh my.
They looked really good. I looked them up online. They're still around. And
Okay.
I was like, those look delicious. Anyways, Herc finishes up with, you know what big hands mean, right? Right?
Yep.
He wants to make sure his joke gets heard.
Yep.
Oh.
That joke was scripted, and David said, asking once makes it a dick joke, asking twice makes it art.
Yeah.
Which I just love that. Good job.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I don't think I have. Oh, yeah. And I just love that Chardine comes into the van,
Yeah.
lays out all the measurements, and Prez just doesn't.
Prez does the quick math. Yep.
And Herc
does.
is starting to write it down, and he just and he just looks over at Prez. It's a great man. Dominic Herc is just having a great episode.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
I mean, he doesn't have a lot of like purpose in this episode except for comedic timing, but he's really doing it. So.
He's the foil.
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh gosh. So the boys have clearly been out and about. They come back. It's late, and Wallace is calling out to the kids like they're hiding, because they're not there. And it's he's kind of like, where are you guys? I'm gonna find you. Like they're playing a game of hide and seek. And he is totally oblivious. We get these shots of like Poot and Bodie standing behind him with these straight faces, that Wallace has no idea. He's just casually going about the house calling for the kids. And then, they're upstairs in a room and Wallace is in a corner and Bodie pulls the gun out and Wallace is tearing up instantly. He's, why is it got to be like this? This is us, man. And you see Poot's eyes are tearing up also. And when he tears up again, Bodie's just like, be a man, don't be a boy. Because as we said, like he doesn't want to feel like he's taking the life of a boy, I think is what it is. And he's hesitating. You could see his hand is shaking, and it's Poot that yells at him to do it. And Bodie takes the shot. Wallace just flies back on the wall, sinks down, is labored breathing, and Poot grabs the gun and puts final 2 shots in there to take his life.
Yep.
Man, you's a weak ass nigga, man. You should have stayed down in the country, man.
Yo, I'm my niggas, yo.
You fucking brought this on yourself, man.
We boys.
You brought this on yourself.
Ain't gotta be like this, yo. We were niggas, man. BC, remember that?
Come on. You wetting your fucking pants like you a little boy. Be a man. Stand up like a motherfucking man.
My niggas, yo.
Man, you said you was a fucking man. Stand up straight.
That's us, man.
Do it, goddammit, if you're gonna...
Oh man, I was just stunned. I was just like clutching my heart at that moment. I was just like, oh no, why?
Hoping for some
something.
Yeah,
something.
McNulty and Daniels to burst through the door.
Yes, or you know, at the last minute that somebody decides that they're not going to do that. Go away, Wallace. Just run away.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna take us on a little side journey
Let's
here.
go on a journey. Let's go on a journey.
Well, and so David Simon mentioned with Santangelo, but also here, there's not a lot of heroic exits when it comes to The Wire. There's you know, so that, and this is exactly that. It's you know, so okay. So as I mentioned, there's a lot about the scene in All the Pieces Matter, and so I'll just try to cover a couple of points. So. Okay. First of all, Pelicano said that this is the hardest scene he's ever had to write, which is really obviously very interesting. Just that, you know, as a writer to kind of go to this place is interesting. And David Simon said it was one of the most disturbing things that they've ever had to film. So that kind of is also very interesting. So David Simon went to, this is Michael Jordan talking. He said, yeah, I kind of knew it was coming, especially when you get that knock on the door from David Simon. I'll never forget it. He said, I love you. The audience loves you. We've got to kill you. We've got to kill you off. I remember telling my mom not to show up on set that day. My mom gets extremely emotional, and this was kind of too much. And then, so then the next part of it was, Pelicano said, that was shot as I wrote it. I was very fortunate because I had these extraordinary actors doing the scene. I heard that it was a very emotional day on the set because everybody loved Michael B. Jordan. Oh. And David Simon said, I gave George Pelicanos a scene because at that point I had read 3 or 4 of his novels, and the violence was never gratuitous. It was always on a human scale, and it had a narrative tension that was that of a novel. So I always knew that those things would always have heart. So just really interesting. So then finally, or actually there are a couple more, sorry. Ed Burns said that he's read the murder scene and he didn't like it. He thought that Bodie should be a psychopath, which means that he shouldn't be pausing. He shouldn't be hesitating. It should just be, he should just do it without even thinking about it. But he also said that it was great for the character to grow. Okay. And then kind of David Simon concurred, and he said, sometimes that makes for the best moments in drama and also the most interesting moments in real life. People are contradictory. I felt like I was watching Bodhi becoming a more interesting character. It's a self-reflection on his life. You couldn't have him just be blot out lawless. I couldn't do anything ever with him again if he was like that.
Okay.
And then finally, Bodhi's J.D. Williams played Bodhi, said throughout the day you might have seen Bodhi's apprehension of him thinking about what he has to do. I felt like once he made the decision, he pretty much stuck with it. It worked. I don't think of either one of us was wrong in that, like, pausing or not pausing, because the audience loved the fact that Bodhi did feel. They could tell that he felt some kind of compassion.
Yeah.
So just a really, there's a lot that went into it, and I think the reason that it's talked about so much is because it had this like just really dramatic impact.
Yeah,
to it,
yeah. So. I mean, geez, Michael B. Jordan, just the way that he's like whimpering almost, and just being like, you my boys, this is us,
yeah.
And it's like so, it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of so heartfelt, but like at the same time, like so pathetic.
Yeah.
Like he has nothing else he can do.
Yeah.
Except plead to these, two boys
that
he sees as family.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. And I think the first time I watched it, probably it was a while where I don't think I realized that Poot was crying.
Oh, okay.
But if you look at his eyes, he's definitely
up.
tearing
Yeah.
up. So
yeah.
And I think, as you said, like they really did a great job of it just felt like it was drawn out just the right amount, where it wasn't like, all right, let's get it over with. It was like getting to that point when Poot says, do it if you're going to do it.
Right.
So, it's obviously it's a tough scene.
Sad.
And, yeah.
I was really sad.
Yep.
But okay,
well, you predicted it. So
I did. But damn, I mean, it just, the way it went down was, I didn't expect it to be his own boys that do that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about this, because it's after this scene that he shot that then McNulty and Daniels are at Wallace's mom's house, and she opens the door. They ask if he's been there, and of course she's drunk. I mean, she's super duper drunk. Why did they have that after his death rather than before? It just seems weird to me that, I don't know, like, it's just, I don't know, like, is it that he's dead and his mom doesn't even know, for us to reflect on it that way? I feel like before his death would have even built more empathy out of the viewer for Wallace. It just seemed like a weird choice to me.
That's a good question. I mean, because I think as you said, like if they had done it before, then you might have gotten the sense that they could have gotten a line on him.
Yeah.
I think it was more about like, I think your comment is right. Like she didn't even, she had no idea. Right. She didn't care.
Yeah.
There's also, I'm reaching here, but it's almost like, how did Wallace end up where he ended up? And you like, this is his mother. Like, it's almost like by being born into the circumstances he was.
Exactly.
This is kind of like now essentially like the origin story essentially, and now it's all tied up together. And like, here's how he started and here's how he ended up. I don't know. It's a good question about that particular choice. But the reach I was going to say was in the commentary, David Simon asks George Pelicanos, like, where did you get that line, slap the bright out of his eyes?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that too.
And he basically cribbed it as like, slap the taste out of your mouth. If you've ever heard, I've never heard that either, but that was the idea. But he was basically saying that she would slap the soul out of his body.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like by the fact that he's already dead.
Yeah.
Is kind of where that fits in. I don't know though.
It struck me a little that way too. It is like that spark of somebody's life in them to brighten their eyes, right?
Yeah.
So that is already gone.
Yeah.
And that she would have taken it away,
right?
By hurting him it's kind of,
Yeah. But other than that, I don't have a good answer for you. Okay. It's an interesting choice.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll just keep on going.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes. We're watching what's going down in the office through the camera, through Barksdale's office, through the camera. So we're seeing that, and we see that they are packing up everything except for the safe. They can't get the safe out the door. Who knows how the safe got in there?
Would you scratch your head for, man?
And Dee comes in, and Avon tells Dee that he needs to go to New York City to get the drugs that they need since their main stash house is gone now, and tells Dee that he's calling on him because at this point he feels like he can only trust Kin and that he needs to go tonight. We find out he's going to take a rental car, and at this information, Freeman calls Daniels and says, "We've got something here that's pretty good."
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it makes if this was intentional. I feel like it must have been, but Avon is wearing a Zero Casualty basketball t-shirt.
Oh, yes, I did notice that.
And I was
actually.
like, Zero Casualty. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I looked it up. I did not find any reference to it, or if it got buried by some other Zero Casualty thing. So,
interesting.
And they just commented that Wood Harris's performance is really interesting because he doesn't, despite it being a drug kingpin.
Yeah.
He's dressed like, I don't know how you would describe, just, he's not distinguished at all from really anybody else. If you saw him standing on the street corner, you wouldn't know at all. So it's a very interesting thing.
He's not dressed like Prop Joe.
Right. Yeah.
Not like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Poot, in the meantime, has his girlfriend call to say that there is a dead animal in the apartment where we know it's Wallace's body. And, a couple scenes later, we see Bunk there with a cigar sticking out of his mouth as usual. And the moment that he recognized that it's Wallace that has been shot dead. So now we know that the detail's going to know about it as well. Sidner's putting a tracker on the rental car that Dee's going to be driving to New York. I have no idea how they know how they got that rental car, but awesome.
That's a good question, actually.
Just like, did they call up all the rental car companies? It's like, this guy rents a car. We need to know. I don't know. It seemed a little convenient for me.
That's an excellent point. Huh.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, some things we just have to move along.
I guess so.
Sometimes you just have to take for granted.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying. Well, let me back up here because I'm wondering if did they tail D'Angelo to his house.
Oh, that might be. They tailed him, and so they. Yeah, maybe they knew which rental car he was going to get. He's in the office doing the paperwork or something like that.
Yeah, they just set up outside his place.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
But it was pretty convenient.
Yeah, it was kind of convenient. So they put the tracker on there. Also, I thought we had no money for nice things in the nice devices in this police department, but then they get this really nice tracker and they even make a comment like, damn, this is nice.
Mad suction with the federales.
Yeah, I guess so. But Daniels at this moment is when he gets the call on Wallace.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they know now that he's been killed. They watch Dee get in the rental. Some commentary about Dee changing his clothes before he goes to New York. A man had to get himself right.
Get himself correct.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. I normally don't make that kind of I'm not that pedantic, but no, it's just such a great line. Boy had to get himself correct.
Boy had to get himself correct. Line.
Yeah.
And they decide they're going to track him with a satellite. They're not going to tail him anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just pause here for a second if you don't mind. The connection between Bunk's response.
Yeah.
So he, says shit when he sees Wallace's body. And then McNulty says, with Wallace gone, that stringer out of the box.
Yeah.
And Daniels kind of looks over at him. And because Daniels, he had interacted with Wallace on a personal level.
Yes.
And so he was really feeling for the kid. That's why he said, poor fucking kid. And McNulty doesn't even though McNulty, interrogated him, he didn't, he just didn't have that connection with him. And so it's interesting. I don't know if it's because what's that?
Didn't drive him to his grandma's house.
Right. I don't know if it's Bunk and McNulty being homicide and they're always just all about the case. But the question's whether their reactions were the same in that they just cared about the case being, out the window as opposed to, this person is dead,
right?
And they were a child,
right.
What I mean? So that's just a little bit of interesting duality there. So,
okay,
yeah. Anyway,
I didn't think about it before, but now that you mention it,
it's a little, it's a little bit of you want a little bit more empathy from McNulty in particular because he makes an explicit comment. Bunk, you could decide for yourself.
Yeah.
And Daniels is clearly thinking about Wallace being dead and, whatever. So, Yeah, so, but that's not really anything. And it almost like goes back to the beginning, the very first comment about it was all about the case for McNulty.
Yeah, exactly.
And anybody that, it gets killed in the way, along the way is, so, yeah.
Collateral damage.
Yeah.
Back in the dungeon, God, we see Prez wipe his greasy chicken hands all over his pants.
Yep.
Get a napkin. Jeez. I feel like I'm telling my kids that all the time. Don't wipe it on your shirt. Get a napkin.
Yeah.
Anyways, he grabs the chicken, which is on top of some newspapers, and he dumps it right by Freeman's desk. If somebody dumped their leftover chicken carcass next to my desk, I would be really pissed off. I don't want to smell that the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, it's good that he does, because Freeman looks over his shoulder there and he notices the front page article there says something to the effect of rehab project, $250 million in development grants. And he pulls it out. We can see that he is looking at this article, and we know that they've been trying to think about these areas where all these businesses are and where this money's coming from for these campaign finances. So something's going to come of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slight correction. They're in the office across from Avon's office here. They're not in the dungeon.
They're in the
which is why,
yeah, got it.
why Prez is so just gratuitously there's only one trash can. What's he gonna do?
I guess so, but
no, I cheated. Yeah. It couldn't matter less, really. But it is pretty funny. And David Simon had a comment. He used to work for the Baltimore Sun, but he swears he wasn't making a comment about his old newspaper by throwing it into the garbage under some greasy chicken.
Okay, that's good. All right, well, surprise, surprise, Dee gets pulled over, and the police officers kind of just say, you basically stayed for 30 minutes in New York and came back. So why did you do that? I'm not sure how this is enough of a justification to him to pull them over without saying more, but I'm not sure. I guess it doesn't matter because McNulty and Daniels come up pretty quick anyways, and they're with Dee in the interrogation room next. And you can tell Dee feels like he has wisened up to this whole situation. He's not going to let, McNulty take advantage of him like he did previously with Bunk when they made him almost start writing that confession to Gant and his, children who didn't exist. He just keeps on saying that he wants his lawyer. He wants Levy. And, they say, okay, fine, we're going to do that. But as they exit, McDaniels mentions Wallace's death. That's how you guys take care of your own, right? And Dee doesn't believe him.
Yeah.
He does. And even when they leave and you just see Dee's face, you can see he still seems pretty resolved in the fact that they are, just jerking him around.
Yeah.
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 Remember me?
Lawyer.
Easy. We're just getting started.
Lawyer, motherfucker.
Okay, so you're hard. But guess what? I could give a fuck.
I'm tired of your games. What, you want me to write a letter, some shit like that?
No game we need to run. You popped with a kilo over in the cut.
Not that you messed up. I mean, you did everything right. Speed limit, turn signals, working tail lights. Question you gotta ask is, how'd those troopers know to pull you over? Someone else fucked up. You following me? But it's you they're gonna blame, and you is gonna do the job.
Lawyer.
Well, that'll be Levy, right? He's getting paid by your uncle, is that right? Oh, yeah. He's looking out for your interests.
More than you. Listen. I ain't saying another damn thing to nobody but my lawyer.
Oh, by the way, your boy Wallace shot dead in the low-rises. That's how y'all take care of your own, right?
You a lying motherfucker. So what? Want me to write a letter to his mom, too? Fuck out of here.
I don't know if you wanted to say anything on that.
Well, I have many things to say about this scene. I love this scene.
Yeah.
And it, this is, of course, is a callback to the second episode.
Right.
Where, he's just in the interrogation room and he immediately just lawyers up.
Yep.
And McNulty's response, Dominic West, like just his line about you did everything right. They're going to blame you.
Exactly.
It's just
this is not
so powerful. He
you
just
did.
delivers it so well. I love that. And And of course, like Lawrence Gilliard is doing a terrific job, like responding to it, and Daniel's kind of playing his part and things like that. I also really like the camera angles in this. I don't know why, but there's something, the way that the camera is positioned, the table is right at the bottom of the frame, and they're looking up. And I don't know what it is about that particular shot, but to me it just feels like there's just adds a lot of tension to that, and having the desk the table in the frame. I don't know. There's something about that, so I just love that. And then as you said, it kind of ties it all up in a bow. Like, what do you want me to write a letter? Because that's exactly what happened in that first interrogation scene.
Right.
I read his response a little bit differently in that he immediately just like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And then once McNulty walks out the door, doesn't say anything.
It's a doubting look?
I think he's like, he now has to think about it.
Okay.
He's now like, oh, this might be real.
I think he does for a split second, but that he still is just like, nah.
Okay.
Nah.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, the scene is written just perfect, just so tightly, like just not a lot. There's no fat on the scene.
Exactly.
It's just a great scene.
So, it is good.
And I'll leave it there.
Okay, well, we go to Dee's mom, Brianna. She's pissed at Avon, her brother, for sending Dee alone. And just this exchange between them, it's very clear that she knows this business and she knows what Avon should have done, or what she thinks he should have done in this situation, that it should have been a mule, somebody else who's carrying it and he's trailing them or whatever. She says maybe you should have taken this route or had them go on the train. Anyways, Avon basically tells her, make sure you remind Dee to, not talk, to remember his family and to remember what he's doing. And, she says, I raised him right. He won't do what he's not supposed to do. So don't worry about him. Yeah. It's very interesting. Just very interesting for her. I don't know, just the introduction of her as a big player here. I mean, I'm sure, maybe she will be in future episodes and have more and more, but it was just, it's an interesting choice to bring her in at this point in the whole thing. Yeah, it is.
And I'm trying to figure out if it makes sense in the context. I don't know. Do you feel like, are you thrown off by the fact that they're introducing her?
Just a little bit. I mean, it does do a little bit more to, this is Avon's demise here. And he's, I don't know if it's kind of showing this inside view on him that we haven't had before, where maybe he's not all that he thinks he is. And we're getting clued into that, or I don't know. It's just, it did, usually I have to think about this as not, there's going to be more series to this. If this was like a novel or something and you introduce a character this important, this late in the game, that would be a major no-no.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming at it, I think, from the standpoint of, like, I think about The Sopranos, and they would introduce new characters all the time, and it's like, well, it's because of a new beginning of a new season, and things like that. David Simon did mention something, which I actually mentioned about the scene. So he said, like, sorry, I read something else, which I'll come back to. But he's like, when you populate the universe, you can create a plot that says what you want to say and serve the plot with your characters. So basically they had the story and they had the characters and the backstory and things like that, and in the context, Avon is D'Angelo's uncle, right? Which means that he has a sibling. We didn't know if it was a mom or a brother. And so, like, what is the connection? What is where is that link? And so you're introduced here, and so it's about, and as you said, like, there's a plot that is being developed by introducing her, and it is she is serving that plot role. So, so you're I like that you took it as kind of, well, let's look at the long view kind of thing.
Yeah, well, actually, now that we're talking about it, right? Avon's going down, and she knows the business, right? But then you got Stringer too, so I don't know, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. But well, I mean, it's interesting. But you're right about that. Like, essentially, she, they're setting her up. It seems like to play some kind of role
in the business later.
Yeah. The thing that just made me laugh was Avon. The comment was Avon. If you look at him, he just like looks like he wants to sink into the couch.
I know he does.
Part of the landscape. He does. He doesn't want her yelling at him.
Yeah, exactly. She's like a little too much like their mom, I think, in that moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the interesting thing from her though is that she is like really oversimplifying the predicament, because Avon said to D'Angelo, I don't have that many people I can trust right now.
Right.
So a mule car or whatever else, like who is driving it? Like, how are we doing this? Like, I don't have anybody. This is, I have to rely on the people closest to me in a weird way. Like, it goes back. I didn't think about this till just now, but when you're on the chessboard, after your pawns are all exhausted, you got to use your knights and rooks to attack and things like that. And that's kind of what Avon found himself doing. So
very true. Very true. Well, Dee gets a meeting with the lawyer as he wanted. So Levy and Stringer come in and he tells him right off the bat, like, I didn't do anything. I didn't do a single thing wrong here. I didn't cause this to happen. They don't seem to believe him. And then he asks about Wallace and Stringer won't answer. And he instantly gets upset. He asks over and over and over again and ultimately refuses to be repped by Levy.
Yeah.
Where's Wallace at? Where's the boy, String?
D'Angelo, shut your mouth.
Where's Wallace? That's all I want to know.
Kid, you better think.
Where the fuck is Wallace? Huh? String! String! Look at me! Look at me! Where the fuck is Wallace? Huh? I don't want this Payless wearing motherfucker representing me. I'm gonna get my own man, all right? So just get back in your car and get the fuck back down south.
All right, you stupid motherfucker. You made your decision.
Yeah, I made my decision. Where's Wallace at? Where the fuck is Wallace? Where's Wallace, String? String! Where the fuck is Wallace? Huh? Stringer!
It's a pretty powerful scene, too. Yeah, I mean, he just keeps saying it over and over. What happened to Wallace? What happened to Wallace? Yeah.
I think I have a little, it's a nitpick, and it kind of really bugs me. It's like, Stringer, why does he just go like, how the fuck do I know?
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just go, I don't know. What are you talking about? Which,
Yeah.
Wallace was in the, would check with Bodie and Poot. I have no idea where he is.
Right.
Like,
I know.
but the fact that he didn't answer, it's like, that's it.
I know. Yeah.
But I mean, maybe it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I mean, once Stringer kind of puts his hand up to his mouth, and he's like, that's like, he kind of revealed everything. Yeah. So this is where I have a whole, I mean, I think it might be a whole mini episode about the Emmys.
Yeah.
But this scene is so good.
Yeah.
I mean, Larry Gilliard, he just crushes it.
It's amazing.
And just the comment was that he ran the line about like him just yelling where the fuck is Wallace, and like him repeating it.
Yeah.
The line was in there, but he kept yelling it. He saw the experience and saw what his character would do,
right?
And that's why he kept going. So they were, and David Simon and George Pelecanos were like, he's just an extraordinary actor. So
it's amazing.
And Alan Sepinwall even mentioned, like, I can't believe nobody like saw that scene and been like, we got to give this character or this actor his own show just based on this one scene, because it really is pretty incredible stuff. So. But yeah, now we don't know what D'Angelo's gonna do. I do like how he calls Levy a Payless wearing motherfucker.
Oh my god,
good stuff.
I forgot that line. That is so good. Payless wearing motherfucker. I need to use that somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, Burrell tells Daniels basically, okay, you have enough on Barksdale and you are done. Go get him. Good work. Pat on the back.
Yep.
And Daniel says, like, hey, why not keep watching and see what else we can get? Why don't we hold off a little while longer? Which I feel like this has just been a refrain that never seems to work.
Yeah.
Because basically they don't have anything on Stringer at this point, right? Wallace is gone and that's all they had on Stringer. And, now they don't have enough on him. And, he says, well, if Stringer and Avon are just all you want, you want to get these guys, then what's up with all the finance reports? Daniels tells him, that's part of the case. The money is part of the case. Ultimately, Daniels says, I don't care about not pissing off the wrong people here anymore. I'm done with that. And Burrell brings up his shady past in the Eastern District Drug Enforcement Unit, which we've kind of talked about before, because I was like, what has Daniels done? And, he came into a lot of money, a lot of capital gains at that point when he was there, and Daniels just kind of says, fine, I'm going to go down for that at some point. Anyways, I know it. But if you bring it up, tell me if I'm understanding this wrong. You know, if you bring it up, there's a reason you haven't brought it up yet. And that's because you hate bad press. And so if you wanted to do that, you would have done it by now.
Yeah.
And basically salutes him, and he's outie at that point.
No, you've got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do what you feel. You want to pull Avon in on half a case? You go ahead. You want to put my shit in the street? Feel free. But the Eastern had a lot of stories. Mine ain't the only one. A lot of people came through that district. If you were gonna do me, I'd already be done. But there ain't nothing you fear more than a bad headline, is there? You'd rather live in shit than let the world see you work a shovel. You can order warrants, and I'll serve them. But as long as I have days left on those dead wires, this case goes on.
I sigh because I think about why would Burrell not want that part of the case?
Right.
I don't get that part. I mean, I get
he doesn't
that,
want to piss off the wrong people when, when he finds out where the money's from.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we don't understand, Clay Davis got a meeting with Daniels and Burrell, but we don't really have a connection any other ways. And so you have to wonder what Burrell's motivation is,
right?
By why is this a problem and things like that. So, so without any other context, it is very frustrating. Like, wouldn't you want to go after the politicians that take dirty money, or wouldn't you want to know that the properties that a drug dealer is buying are funding the drug trade, and it seems like a pretty much a no brainer. So we don't understand what the motivation is, other than Burrell just wants the case to be done.
Yeah,
right? He's wanted it from the beginning.
Exactly. He's getting pressure from other people that say what is going on, and he's tired of that pressure. Or I don't know, does he have investments in this redevelopment as well?
It's a good question.
Okay,
it's a good question. So
it's not good, but he didn't even. I feel like Daniel said there was a lot of shady stuff that happened in the Eastern District, and I almost intimated in that moment that he knew that there was probably stuff on Burrell too.
I don't know about that.
I didn't know, but he's just there's a lot of stuff about a lot of people there.
I think that basically he's exactly. I don't know that it implicates Burrell directly, but I think he's basically saying if you bring this up, then I bring everything else up, and that's not a win for you. It's a loss for you. So so kind of the protection. So anyway, and then the salute at the end. Yeah, just what a fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you have Avon and Stringer sitting in this empty office now, and I think they're watching the SWAT camera. Or they're watching the SWAT teams outside on their cameras. And the last thing is the safe that they're going to empty now. I think it's $150 grand in the safe. I don't know why they didn't get that out of there earlier, but they didn't. Okay, so, it's crazy with all the SWAT guys all around. They're all armed and ready to go in for these two guys. And McNulty and Daniels think it's kind of ridiculous. And McNulty says, let's forget them. This is our case. These are our guys. Let's just the two of us go get them. And they go up and they knock on the door politely,
right.
which I love. And, guy opens the door, they pull him out, and they just go straight up to the office and without much ado arrest Avon Barksdale.
Yep.
This isn't as much fun as I thought it would be.
SWAT guys do love to break out their toys, don't they?
Do you think it's Tony Montana up there? These guys probably haven't touched a gun in years. Oh, fuck this shit. You and me, Lieutenant.
And I don't know, does, Avon, I wonder, Avon doesn't know, he knows he's getting arrested. Does he think Dee snitched on him now because he has given up his representation by Levy and told Stringer to basically go F himself? Why does Avon think he's getting arrested now?
That's an excellent question.
Okay,
I don't know.
I just wasn't clear.
I think he just must have known the hammer was going to drop. I don't know that he thought that D'Angelo had said anything, because D'Angelo at this point has not said anything.
That's true.
Right? So
but they do. But all Stringer knows is Stringer didn't want that Dee left pissed off.
Yeah.
So that's why I was wondering.
Yeah, it's a good
Okay.
question. But no, I think that basically
He
once,
just was expecting it.
you know,
Once the
like they
stash
must
house
have
got
known that there
taken.
was a connection, a direct connection to
Okay.
Avon Barksdale. I guess
Okay.
we'll see. But
Yeah.
yeah. So but I don't know that Avon had any other information beyond that.
Okay. Well, they put him in bracelets, and McNulty tells Stringer that he'll say, "Catch you later."
Yep.
Yeah. And it's interesting. They start going down the stairs with Avon, and McNulty, like, he looks like he's almost going to go back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure why, but Daniels kind of, gives the head nod to motion him out, and he follows Daniels out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you notice the connection with the head nod?
No.
It was the same head nod that Bodie gave to Poot when they killed Wallace.
Oh my God.
And I wasn't sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is me being, I'm wearing my beret when I say this. So Bodie puts on a black headscarf or a do-rag and then goes in. So, I was like, that's death kind of like, and Poot walks up the stairs into darkness.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, McNulty is in the dark.
You're right.
And he walks
Coming
down
into light.
light. That's come on.
Interesting.
I don't think that they got that. I don't know. They somebody got argued about it, but but it's the same thing either way. Which in fact, I'm proud to say I remember picking that up the very first time I saw it. I was like, oh, I'm so smart.
Touche.
So, yeah, the only time I got it the first time. But that it was scripted. So, but so a couple other things about this. I mean, that line. Do they think it's Tony Montana up there? These guys probably haven't touched a gun. God, what a line! It's so good. And then. So, so Stringer, he turns his back as well. Did you notice that?
Yes,
that he
I
turns
did.
back. He thought he was going to get arrested, and McNulty's just kind of wandering around, like looking around. I liked, there's a little thing that Wood Harris does. So when the handcuffs go on, you hear it tighten, and Wood Harris does a little jump.
Okay.
And Daniels is like really putting him on tight.
Okay.
Like he did not expect it to be as tight, which I appreciated. And of course, if you rewatch that scene, Lance Reddick is just like, there's just fire coming out of his eyes. And there's actually, I paused it just by coincidence, and Daniels looks over at Stringer, and Stringer's looking back at Daniels, and it is just like, Daniels just wants to murder him.
Yeah.
It's just,
the
God.
intensity.
Yeah, so good. And then I just wrote this line down. McNulty walks down the stairs with the money, and I was like, it's really disappointing that they didn't have big dollar signs on the canvas.
I know.
I'd appreciate
Garbage
that.
bags.
Yeah. So, and of course, like kind of similar to what Simon said earlier. It's like this wasn't a big heroic, shootout, or we got to catch these guys, chase them down.
Yes.
It was just they walk up the stairs,
No
calm as
fanfare.
can be,
Yep.
knock on the door as you said,
Exactly.
guide
Knock,
the
knock,
guy out. Like, okay, we're gonna go up the stairs, and that's it. And it's, so, and it, I'll say it here for the, the only time this episode, no music, no nothing.
No
it's all
music,
quiet. It's just, you're just sitting there watching it. You hear the creak of the safe door.
Yeah.
It's just such a great scene.
It is so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, back at the dungeon, Freeman pins the article up.
Yep.
And then points to a region which seems right next to that center of Barksdale's known businesses. And the guys look really pleased with what's happened, and Sidner has this moment where he really reflects on the work that they've done and says, I've never worked a case like this in my life, and I think he kind of realizes, or is rueful, that this is like the case of a lifetime, and maybe it won't get better than this. Yeah. And Freeman just, shakes his hand and says it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we finish in the low rises with an empty, disgusting orange couch by itself.
Yeah. And so just that scene in the dungeon, you just appreciate that Prez and Freeman are looking at that, and they're having essentially a conversation between the two of them about, okay, this is where we're going next, and here's how it's all set up.
Yeah.
And but they don't say any of that. It's just, you just kind of piece it together. And then, Sinner's kind of saying his goodbye, and which is, and it's touching too. I like that little handshake that Freeman gives him. It's, not just a handshake, but he does a little, I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah. And then, the scene with the couch, it's just him, it kind of like all of this, the ultimate result, D'Angelo's arrested, Wallace is dead, and it's like, what is it all about?
Yeah.
So and that's cleaning up. So
Cleaning up.
the scene, I was trying to figure out, because if you look in the background of that orange couch, you see like clothes in the back, and I was trying to figure out like, is the pit now cleaned up? You know,
interesting.
I don't know.
Okay.
I probably not.
Probably
You know,
not.
but it's just, you know, but obviously it's completely disrupted. So we'll see if it goes back. So yeah, that's the end. So just a rough one. And so we got one episode left to see how it all wraps up.
Yep.
All right, well, let's hit a couple of our topics. So we touched on a lot of the callbacks. So I don't think we have to go too much deeper. We got all those. Yeah, and Daniels is dirty. We talked about that as well.
Okay.
So that was the FBI. I have Mr. Nugget's life lessons. I have. What do you think? Do you have any?
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay. I wrote down, because I actually struggled with this, but I wrote down work that shovel.
Work that That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that one.
I find myself getting frustrated when I see people doing things politically.
Yeah.
And knowing that there's hard work or dirty work to be done.
But they're not willing to
and
do
they don't
that.
want to do it.
Yep.
I'm like, you know what? If you have the choice to work that shovel, people
Yeah.
will respect you living in shit.
Yes.
People will respect you like digging yourself out of
Yes.
shit if you do it. Right.
Yes.
That's how I kind of.
Yeah. I guess I kind of, the soft link break the chain. I don't like the context it was used in.
Mm-hmm.
But on a normal basis, I do think, it's like this thing where, we got to be strong to stay together.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't like it being used to justify murder.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
But I think there's something to that.
Yeah, actually, and I think
if you're part of a community or an organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or even if you just think about yourself, like what are your
Right.
weaknesses?
Yeah.
And if you have a weakness, and that will be your undoing.
Exactly.
Yeah, good man. And don't leave chili dogs uneaten. Come on.
Come on.
Take them with you at least till you're hungry later.
Yes. What
Just
a waste.
Throwing money out the door. Okay, and then killer cameos. So, Ellie, I have to give you credit for these because you came up with both these. I was struggling. Doug Roberts as Stephen Demper, DA attorney, state attorney Stephen Demper, and Giselle Watts as Darcia Wallace.
Yeah.
And you wanted to give it to Stephen Demper, so you found him.
I
think
Stephen Demper's performance. I did. Yes.
He is just shady enough, and but he's I like it too. He did a good job. Doug Roberts apparently was a radio personality in Baltimore that they pulled out.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's just where these folks come from is so interesting.
yeah, exactly.
There's just like a lot of folks with a very interesting non-acting past.
Yeah.
That have
Yeah,
this,
and how they find these guys? It's
don't
really
know.
impressive. I did want to also comment. There was one thing I forgot, which was when Clay Davis says he's going to be. You got to put him in a foot post so that he sees the Philadelphia police walking towards him. David Simon credited H.L. Mencken, saying when H.L. Mencken was working for the Baltimore Sun, he was posted so far outside of Baltimore, he saw the Philadelphia cops walking towards him. So David Simon just want to make sure where his credit is due. But the other thing I wanted to mention was Alan Sepinwall reviewed this episode as well, and he talked about like all of the things that had to happen for Wallace to be killed.
Right.
And because Wallace was so impactful, I think it's just better, without going through all of it, if you kind of walked back, he happened to be at the Greeks when they saw Brandon, and then kind of even just in the last couple of episodes, if Burrell doesn't take the main stash house, they don't worry about cleaning up. If they're not busy with the stash house, all those arrests, then Prez isn't by himself when he hears Wallace coming back.
Yeah.
Then he would have been protected. And let's see and Keem, of course, getting shot distracts everybody as well.
Yes.
And and then I think that those are just a couple that like all, and that was mentioned in this episode as well. As like Keem got shot and everybody got sidetracked with that. So
right.
And so it's just one of those things where like all those little things had to like fail in order for Wallace to be doomed.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Of course, that's how it all happens.
Yeah,
and so
Just the dominoes that led to Wallace's death.
Yeah. So it's, and of course, like Michael B. Jordan, he just did such a tremendous job in this episode.
Yeah.
So
truly.
R.I.P. Wallace. So.
Yep.
Okay. Well, how do you think the episode held up for you?
Great. Really great.
Yeah.
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 I mean, in terms of anything in particular, before I say?
Just the political corruption for sure is something, just taking these, wins where you can get them with, just taking Avon and not being able to go.
Yeah.
Or, I think we see that still too, where you just like, okay, well, we got this guy, but we didn't take down the whole organization because we didn't have the resources for that or whatever. And then it crops up as a problem again because it's just like a, weed that you didn't get out by the root.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say those are things that kind of resonated with me. As being true today.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There was another comment from David Simon about Prez and Freeman and that relationship and how Freeman mentored Prez in a way that the institution, the police did not.
Yeah.
And that holds up to me entirely, right? Like the institution is out for itself.
Right.
It's not always like nefarious, but it's not going to take care of you. It's not going to bring you along the way you need to, and finding that right mentor is really important. But of course, like because of that, the institution is going to make decisions that are best for itself in the, and almost always in the short term.
So true.
Like very rarely is it, let's think about the long-term impact. Because I mean, even if you look back to last episode, if they had held off on the main stash house, how much bigger could this case have been?
Yep.
If they, you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
And if they had held off on I kept the bug in the office. How much further,
Yeah.
So could they have taken it? But it was always like, well, we got to get rid of this case.
Right.
Because it's like been a pain in my ass for however long. And so
costing too much, too many people. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the really hard question for you.
Okay.
Your predictions. What are your predictions for episode 13, Sentencing?
All right. I think Barksdale's going to get life. And I think Dee's going to be offered immunity to testify against Barksdale. And I think he'll do it because he finally needs to get out. I think Shardine and Freeman will go on a proper date. I'm hoping anyways. And I think Kima will open her eyes and McNulty will get to tell her they got their guy.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay. Good stuff. That's a lot of different threads too. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I was going to say, like, are there any other threads we need to continue on? But no,
I don't know how much is going to come from the businesses and all that, or if that is all being set up for the next season.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff.
Okay.
Well done. All right. Well, we made it through. Whew. This was a Kima getting shot level of.
Dude, this is intense.
Yeah, but it was an intense one, of course.
It was.
So, hard one to get through, but Ellie, thank you as always. No response from Ellie, by the way. I was fully expecting
I didn't this time.
A text from her like, "What am I watching here? What have you done to me?" So actually, I should have asked, like, right at the top, like, you watched it but you didn't have a reaction that like the same with Kima.
Not the same as Kima.
Okay, so it was just a difference.
I mean, I guess I just knew it was coming for Wallace in a way that I didn't know was going to come for Kima.
Got it.
Yeah, so it just didn't hit me quite the same. Although I was just super duper shocked and saddened in the moment that it occurred. So.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will finish up season 1.
Oh my God.
Week.
One more episode.
I know.
I'm going to go watch it right after.
All right. Well, great. Okay. Well, we will be back next week with episode 13, Sentencing.
Yay.
Thank you, Ellie, as always. What a great episode.
Yeah.
Great job.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
Okay. Thank you. See you all next week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. The Wired and Rewired podcast is Ellie Peterson and me, Chris Aronchek. Our theme song is Nice Vibes by Neon Beach. Want to holler at us? You can email us at wiredandrewired@gmail.com or hit us on the burner at 240-488-0060 to leave us a voicemail. We're Wired and Rewired on all the socials. And of course, if you like the show, please give us a rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps other Wire fans discover the show. And until next time.
Catch you later.